Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom Tribe. It is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. And today we have Martin Salama, and he is going to tell you all about who he is and what he is up to.
Well, hello to you too. I'm so excited to be here. So my name is Martin Salama. I'm known as the architect of the Warriors Life Code. I help people shift their mindset from lack to abundance so that they can uncover their greatness, so that they can live incredibly full every day. And that's what the life in the Warriors Life Code stands for.
Awesome. So you use some words that are favorite words around here: mindset, greatness. And so we are always intrigued by that. Why? Because fear, which we talk about on this podcast, tends to try to be a mindset killer. It also tries to stop us from achieving our greatness. So we are particularly interested in your thoughts on that and how we are able to face our fear bravely so that we can truly unleash our greatness. So you've got to tell us how and the backstory and all the tea. Spill it all, because we want to hear, how did you become a coach in this niche?
Okay. So, I'll go back to the beginning. We'll go right back to the early times. When I was 10 years old, I was walking home from school with one of my 4 older sisters. And as I got onto my block, I noticed there was a school bus stopped right in front of my house. And, I was a little confused. And I saw the bus driver standing right there. As I got closer, my mother came running out of the house, holding my 5-year-old brother, Michael, in her hands, ran into the car and drove away. My sister and I are looking at each other. What is going on? I'm 10 years old. My sister's 13. And we see the bus drivers crying. We come to find out that my brother dropped something as he got off the bus, being a 5-year-old. He went to pick it up. And the next thing you know, the bus driver didn't see him, drove and hit him.
Oh, no.
4 days later, my brother succumbed to his injuries and passed away. That was, of course, the most tragic thing to happen in my entire life. And it stuck with me in such a way that shaped the next 40 years of my life. At that moment, when my brother died, I told myself a story. Nobody told it to me. I told it to myself. I said, now that I'm the only boy left, it's my job to make sure that my parents are always happy, that I'm doing whatever I can to give them the happiness they deserve. I'm 10 years old. What am I telling myself? So I go on to become a people pleaser. And that continued when I got married. I became a people pleaser to my wife. Okay. And here I am trying to juggle all these plates and make everybody happy. And I'm not making anybody happy. And I'm saying I'm doing all this to make everybody happy. And what I did was, and this is something that I've trademarked, I rationalized. And to me, rationalize is 2 words: rational lies. I was telling myself, I was lying to myself that it was rational for me to do all these things that I thought was helping everybody else and was good when I wasn't helping anybody. And I would do things that were against. The reason I call it rational lies is I was lying to myself that I was going to go against my values so that I could make everybody else happy. What comes with being a people pleaser is that you become to take things, in my case at least, and I found in many others, is that you take things personally, that you're a control freak. And that for me, I would react to anything to the point I would overreact, that I would become a nuclear reactor and I would explode and leave fallout all over the place that I have to go back later and fix. And all this is because my brother passed away and I told myself that I need to make everybody happy. Now, fast forward, I'm in a relationship with my wife for 24 years. A few years before this, in the early 2000s, she comes to me, she says, I have an idea. I just closed a business. I was looking for something to do. She said, I'm having difficulty finding tennis time where we live. She said, I'm playing at 10 o'clock at night because I can't find a tennis court. It's like, okay, let's look into this. And for the next 4 or 5 years, we start working on looking into building a tennis center. It turns into a $15 million project. Okay. And in 2008, the summer of 2008, we finally, after 4 or 5 years, get everything we need to build this project. In the meantime, I put in $2 million of my money, millions of dollars of families' money into investors. Go to the bank and we go, okay, we've gotten all the approvals, the city, the state, everybody's ready for us. And they start laughing. They go, we're not lending. The world's about to fall apart. I'm like, what? This was August of 2008. In
Oh,
September,
wow.
we know what happens.
Yes.
The financial world falls apart and the rug is pulled right out from under me. I lose absolutely every penny I have, the money I borrowed, the money invested, you name it, it's all gone. Okay, I'm pretty depressed now. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? And I start worrying about absolutely everything. Remember the word worrying. So now I go through a whole problem of trying to figure out how to move forward in my life. And I'm depressed. And my depression is really situational based. And I have no money now. My family is controlling some of my money that because I had some income coming in from other areas. And to their credit, they were helping me. But I started, they said, like, you need to see a psychiatrist. You need to go on Wellbutrin. I'm like, okay, I'll go on Wellbutrin. I start going on Wellbutrin, but I'm not paying all my bills. So all of a sudden, my insurance lapse because I have no
Oh,
money,
no. Oh, no.
right? So as a result, it
Ooh.
becomes a vicious cycle.
Right.
My
Yeah.
insurance lapse, so I can't get the Wellbutrin. I can't get the Wellbutrin. And one day I look at myself, I go, you know what? How much do I really need this medication? How much is it about me changing the way I'm feeling about what's going on? And I go, okay, great. I call my family. I tell them, look, this is what's going on. They help me get my insurance back, but I stopped taking the Wellbutrin. A few months later, I'm feeling really good. And I go, you know what? I think I know what I want to do. I want to become a life coach because I'd had life coaches in the past and they were very helpful. And in my life, as I grew up, I told you I was a people pleaser. So I was always involved in community organizations and I was always a leader, somebody that people could come to because they knew I would get things done. Right. So here I am. It's on our 24th wedding anniversary. I've decided to make this change. My wife comes to me and she says, happy anniversary. Well, she doesn't really say happy anniversary. She goes, I want a divorce.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Right. Gee, thanks for that anniversary gift. I'm like, I'm floored. I'm feeling every emotion you can imagine. Anger, shame, loneliness, depressed, back to being depressed because here I
Oh, my
am
gosh.
and I'm trying to convince her not to divorce me. Because why? I find out later that the reason why was because I was afraid I would never have anybody love me again. Because I had no self-esteem, no self-love. And she was beaten down. I was beaten down. I found that I looked at it at the time. I took all the responsibility. It's all my fault because that's a people pleaser. Now I start going into life coaching school. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, maybe this will help my marriage. I get there, and the first week in the school, they go, we're going to show you how to figure yourself out before you figure anybody else out.
Right, right.
I'm like, all right, get in there. And I'm crying all weekend because I'm recognizing all these signs. And I
Gosh.
realized that I need to figure out how to make things go right for me and that everything else will take care of itself. And I read a book by Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements. Did you ever read that book?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's one you should read. And the second agreement is don't take anything personally. That's a hard one. But it's as if somebody had just turned on the lights and told me the secret that everybody's been telling me my entire life, and I couldn't hear it until now. If I stop taking things personally, I will then understand that I don't need to be a people pleaser. I don't need to look for everybody's recognition and approval. I don't need to drive, to have a short fuse. And because of the life coaching, going through life coaching at the same time as a divorce, it saved my life.
Wow.
Saved my life.
Wow.
So how's that for a story?
That is an incredible story. Oh my gosh. And then as you're talking, I'm also sensing how you face fear and all of that, right? Because I mean, there were so many instances where you were faced with it because you had fear at the very beginning when you had no idea what was going to happen with your brother. All you saw was your mom scoop your brother up and hurriedly, leave the scene. And then the next piece is like, when you make a decision that you're going to be the glue that holds a family together, and then as a corollary, the glue that holds your world together, right? Because it seems like everybody you came in contact with, that was like your mission, seemed like.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
the other thing, and then when you get to that point where you're like, okay, this is something that we have put blood, sweat, and tears, huge sweat equity into, and we're about to make this move, which is a bold move. To start a tennis center is a massive, massive leap of faith and bold move. And so you overcame fear, you asked for the money, you procured your own capital, and you took that step, only to find that you were coming up against a brick wall, right? And so fear again, right? So now you're like, wait, I was on this mission, I had this goal, and now that is thwarted. What is the next step? So that's huge fear. And then to have things start to roll in a positive direction, only to find out that your sweetie was not happy in a quarter of a century's worth of life commitment. And then now you're like, okay, this has been my normal. This has been my situation. How now do I go forward when I have no idea what the next steps in the playbook are? And then the final thing is you decide now, okay, fine. I have seen where this particular avenue has been beneficial to me. I feel like I want to pay it forward now and have it be an impact to others. You go to life school, they dig deep into your own psyche and your own background, your own backstory, and then boom, you're faced with another fear. Now what? Here it is.
Yep.
Here is me in the raw. What the heck comes next? That's a lot of fear facing, my friend. That is a lot of fear facing.
Thank you. Maybe more than I should have had, but this is what life dealt me. And lots of times I'd look back and I'd say I was a failure on so many things. And I have to tell your audience right now, you are a fantastic listener. Unbelievable how you picked up every part of my story and repeated it to me as if you knew it already. So really, thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. So now I finished going through life coaching school. I'm like, what am I going to become? What kind of life coach am I going to become? And I get a message from somebody, and she says, somebody I know for 40 years. And she says, I know you're divorced now. Are you ready to start dating? I'm like, what? You want to date me? She goes, no.
Right? Is that a preposition?
No, I love
what's going on here?
But I'm a matchmaker in our small Jewish community that I live in here in Brooklyn.
Awesome.
And she goes, I want to help you find somebody else. I said, I don't know if I'm ready to date. So she goes, let's talk. So we make a phone call. After an hour, she says, I got to tell you, I've never met a man more well put together after a divorce than you. I'm like, well, thanks to life coaching school. She goes, maybe you should coach people on recovering from divorce. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. I became a divorce recovery coach.
Okay,
and that's what I did for a few years, right? Helping people recover from that emotional pain of divorce. Whether you asked for it or you were asked for it, you are suffering. men and women. Men don't like to admit it, but we suffer too, right? And I'm going through this and I'm doing good work. And I look at myself one day and I'm the heaviest I ever am in my life. And I realize I might like myself, but I don't love myself. And what's going on here? I still have some baggage. So I say, okay, I'm going to start with the heavy baggage. All right. And start to lose weight. I start eating better. I start exercising. And as things start to happen, the endorphins start kicking in. And I'm
Yeah.
starting to read the books I was reading before and being happy. And I'm even doing something I never did before. And I had difficult time doing it. I was meditating.
Oh, nice.
And I start meditating. And one day I'm doing one of these guided meditations. And I had this download of information. When I finished meditating, I wrote for at least 2 hours straight. And what
Wow.
came out of that was my desire to help people live their best life, because I was living it. And I started dating. And all of a sudden, I get a call from my friend one day. She says, "You must take this woman out." She starts telling me all about her. I said, "Okay, but she's about 15 years younger than me. I mean, if she's okay to go out with me, I'm good with going out with a girl 15 years younger." She goes, "Yeah, yeah, she's good. She's all good." So we start dating. And within a month, I turned to her. I said, "I have to tell you something. And I don't need to hear it from you, but I have to tell it to you. I love you."
Wow.
And she looked at me. She's like, "Okay." I said, "You don't have to tell me anything. When you're ready, you'll tell it to me." She had a lot of baggage she needed to get through herself. Her first marriage was a tough one. So it was hard for her. 2 weeks later, came back. She said, "I love you too." 2 years later, we got
Aw.
married, and we're married for almost 4 years now.
Oh, that is awesome. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome,
But what
awesome.
came out of all this, was when I went to coaching school, I got an understanding of values, right? And the importance of values. And I realized my first marriage, I never should have been married to her. We were so codependent and our values were so different that I never saw the signs that my parents were dangling right in front of me and people saying, "Really, maybe you shouldn't be getting married." I didn't listen.
Ah,
I'm a 23-year-old,
interesting.
24-year-old guy. I'm
Yeah,
a married
yeah,
kid. I want to get
yeah,
married.
yeah. We never listen at that age.
Right. Exactly. But I do have 4 beautiful children. And as of 2 weeks ago, my eighth grandchild.
Oh,
And I have
congratulations. That's
thank you.
fantastic.
And it took a while, but I have a great relationship with my ex-wife now. But what came out of that day was the acronym LIFE. Live incredibly full every day. Okay. And something that I found very interesting, you asked me early on about for fear and facing fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really answer the question. You sort of did, but I'm going to tell you what I feel. In the past, when I got fear, I shriveled up. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I'll figure it out. And I was afraid. And now, when I get fear, I take it as an uh, what do you call it? Adrenaline. Take the adrenaline that comes with fear and do it anyway. Because
Love it.
what's going to happen? You're going to have to do it one way or the other. So if you do it with the adrenaline and say, "I'm going to do my best," you'll come out the other side.
So true. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh. Those are great pearls because I think that we are always looking at situations, looking for like the analysis behind it to figure out what the way forward is. And if we just break it down to that so basic, so like, I don't want to say primal, but maybe primal, like the primal nature of it,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah, it is
the
primal.
reason why we have fear is for a good reason. We have it because at one point it was fight or flight. It was like, hey, if you're not afraid of the danger, you will not survive. But we don't really have that anymore. So it's up to us to do exactly what you just said, which is
Yeah.
take that fear and turn it into fuel. You know, recognize it for its power and then take the steps forward. That is an
That's it.
amazing pearl. Thank you
That's
so
it.
much
So,
for that.
oh, my pleasure. So now we come up to 2020. So I put this program that I never really do anything with. I put it on the side. I'm focusing on my JOB, my everyday dollars to bring money in and stuff like that. And COVID hits. And I'm
Okay.
watching the world. Everybody's afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's worrying. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at myself and I said, I'm not worrying. Why am I not worrying? And I realized the last 10 years were preparing me for anything that comes my way. And this is what came my way and the rest of the world. And I go
Mm,
on Facebook and I said, you know what? I want to help somebody, anybody and I want to show them how to go from being a warrior to a warrior.
nice.
And a warrior is someone who has faced adversity and come out the other side stronger and ready for battle again, whatever that battle is.
Yeah.
Men, women, anybody is a warrior who's come through the other side and said, I'm stronger as a result. And that's where the Warriors Life Code comes from.
Love it. That is fantastic. And I love that it's kind of like you're kind of like the Phoenix because
Yeah.
you rose from the ashes. Like, you're like, look, I see dust all around, and I am not going to have the dust inhaled into my lungs. Like, you're like, no, I will blow out. I will make sure that not only will I blow out, but I'm going to throw some life preservers out there so others can also blow out. And I think that's pretty amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available. If you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show.
But what's the thing that everybody's worried about there right now in life out there? Their emotions, controlling their emotions, right? And as life coaches, one of our jobs is to have people understand that if you don't control your emotions are controlling you, right? Because your thoughts lead to your emotions, which lead to your actions, right? So if you get the thought, and then can do something about it, now you can move forward. So I have one of my programs that I talk about is building your emotional strength. And it's 4 simple steps to keep your feelings from ruling your actions. All right. Should I tell you the 4 steps?
Yeah, let's hear it. Absolutely.
All right. Now, you see, I like the acronym. You see, I like to use acronyms.
Yeah.
So I took the acronym LIFE and I built it into my program.
Okay.
Number 1, listen to your inner voice and acknowledge your feelings. Right? So your inner voice is your emotion. What am I feeling right now at this moment? There's a difference between emotions and feelings. Emotions are that immediate thing that you, oh my God. And then the feeling is, what kind of an emotion am I having? For example, I'm angry. Well, what kind of angry are you? Are you ticked off where you want to beat somebody up? Or you're just kind of like, okay, this is something that's not bothering me so much. And so what I do is, and if I would love to offer it to your audience, is they can listen to, I can give you a link to a longer webinar that goes deeper into this. And with it, they'll get a chart that explains the emotions across the top and the feelings going down. And then a worksheet with these 4 steps that I'm going to go over that they can look at and work through whenever they're feeling it. Could be at the moment, or it could be down the road. Why I was feeling that. So number 1, listen to your inner voice and acknowledge your feelings. Number 2, identify those feelings. So now I say I'm angry. What kind of angry? Identify. Number 3, find out why. question your feelings. Why am I feeling this? Did somebody hurt me? How did they hurt me? What happened? Or, and then you go, is it hurting me or helping me? What's going on? And you go through it. I go deeper into the webinar. And then the last one, engage and change and take action right damn now. Don't wait.
Love it. Love that
Put it
one.
down on your calendar. Whatever you're going to do, and when are you going to do it?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That is huge. Oh my God. You know, it's funny because like I love that you have that as the the anchor, because that is a problem that a lot of us have. Like we get so easily overwhelmed because we don't see a clear path to fixing the problem, right? Like we see the problem, like we may recognize it, which is a huge step in and of itself. But then we just don't really feel like either A, we cannot pursue that way forward, or B, we're just like, there's just no way we can fit it into our busy schedules, quote unquote. And so making it real by putting a date on it and having like a immediate action plan, like it might be super simple. Like, you mentioned the biggest first step is actually writing it down, right? And so once we've written something down, if we speak the thing into the ether, or we speak the thing into like our group that we're surrounded by, then it's like, okay, I told my people, so I got to do this
Right,
now.
right.
And it
But
makes it that much more attainable. It makes it that
it's
much
so
more
true.
like something you're going to do. So I love that
It's
you have that
so
as the
true.
anchor. That's amazing. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Life is what my whole program is about. I use that acronym for so many things. Okay. The word life, I break it down into like love, intensely, fearlessly, and effortlessly. And I have a bunch of others because, and I say to people when they go through my program, that what I want you to do is to wake up every morning and write down 3 things you're grateful for. Okay. And before you go to bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. And it could be the littlest thing. And then have some kind of mantra that gets you through the day. So I get up, I wake up, and I write down my things. I pray, because I pray every morning. And then sometime in that phrase, I say to myself, today, I'm going to live incredibly full every day. Now my mindset is ready for whatever comes. Now, do I feel 100% all the time? Don't we all wish?
Right. That'd be awesome. But
That'd be awesome. And people think, oh, life coaches, all they want you to do is make sure you never get angry. No, not true. It's how you get angry that matters. Right? The old me was like a nuclear reactor.
wow.
Now I respond 95 to 98% of the time. There's still sometimes that someone's going to hit me with something that I'm going to go, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Whiplash. But, and then it's about how fast can I get myself controlled back to the way I was, because my anger was never controlled before. And there was an interesting story. My son was getting married. It was about 2 or 3 years after my divorce. And there was something happened a few days before the wedding. And my son came back, I'm so sorry, Dad. I didn't know Mom was doing this. I'm so sorry. The old me would have picked up the phone right there, and ripped her a new one.
Oh, wow.
Right. And she deserved it. But what would I have done 2 days before the wedding? I would have set her off, myself off, my son, and whoever else was in the vicinity.
Right.
And what kind of wedding would it have been?
Right.
One that we still
Disaster.
remember to this day as being something where you could cut the tension with a knife. I said, no, son, it's good. I get it. Fine. I waited till 2 days after the wedding. I called her up and I told her, look, this is what you did. And it wasn't about me. It wasn't about, I knew she wasn't going to hear a word I said, but I didn't care. I needed to tell her, you disrespected me. You showed the children it's okay to disrespect me. This, whatever it was. And it was a measured anger,
Right.
controlled anger. And I ended the thing, and this was basically a defining moment for me. I said, thank you for divorcing me.
Wow.
At that moment, I realized she did me the best favor possible.
That's incredible. That's like, that's not the typical end of conversation. Like,
Right, right. So what did I do? I used the 4 steps. He told me what happened. I listened to my emotion, my voice, my inner voice, and I acknowledged my feelings. I identified what I was feeling. I went deeper. I found out why. Why was I feeling this? I questioned myself. You got to question yourself almost as if you're on trial with yourself, like you're cross examining. You want to get deep into a thing. And then I engaged and changed and I took action. I wrote down after the wedding, I'm going to take care of this.
mm, wow.
So you can say I practice what I preach.
Yes, clearly. I was literally like, oh my gosh, like this is good. Like you're showing practical applications from your own life, which is awesome.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So now you have to tell everybody, Martin, where and how they can reach out to you.
So number one, I'll give you a link that they can go to, right? Which you could put into your podcast, but they could also go to the warriorslifecode.com,
Okay.
right? I'll give you that link as well that they can go to right on your, is that the way we could do it
Yeah,
in the
I would just
podcast?
say to state the actual I guess the website then, because state that, because
Right.
not everybody's gonna have access to the show
All
notes
right.
as they're listening, you know what I mean? And so that
Gotcha.
way it's on there as an audio.
Yep. Yep. Okay, great. Give me 1 second and I'll tell you exactly what it's called.
Okay,
So I
no
give it
worries.
to you exactly right. It's called, it's called tinyurl.com. I still haven't done the other part, /W2W podcast gift.
Okay.
tinyurl.com /W, the number 2W, warrior to warrior podcast gift.
Awesome.
Right. When they click on that, it'll take them to a page where they will get access to the webinar, the full half-hour, 40-minute webinar, along with the downloads of the sheets that we were talking about and the worksheet. And if they want, there's also a link there. If they want, they can set up a 30-minute conversation with me to see how they felt about what they did, where they want to go from there.
Awesome. That's great. And then let's hear the Warrior website, what that is exactly as well, if you could say
The
that.
warriorslifecode.com.
And it's CODE code, right?
Code, right, code.
Okay.
And when
All
they
right,
go
perfect.
there, they'll have an opportunity to get a free gift as well there, which is stay positive no matter what's pissing you off.
That's
A
useful.
little,
That
a
is for
little
sure.
ebook.
Because let me tell you, there are many things every single day that will test that.
Yep, yep.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that, because that is very helpful. Like I said, if someone's listening on the go, at least they have a reference point and they can go back to the show notes
Sure.
and, get it that way.
Thank you for that. Thank you for
Fantastic.
giving me that heads up on that part. I'm still learning the world of podcasts.
Oh yeah. No worries, no worries. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, my goal is always to, obviously I do this podcast for very selfish reasons. I personally am facing fear, and I happen to know lots of people who are. And so, the whole goal of this podcast is to kind of to hear different perspectives, and just to be able to know that there are many different ways in which you can face your fear. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate the fact that you shared your stories, because I feel like that is the most powerful thing that will actually help somebody, right? Because we can
Right.
always tell people this is what you need to do, but it's when we share the stories, whether they're our own stories or the stories of people that we've impacted, the stories are really what make the difference, because the stories are what help us. Because as I was listening to your stories, I haven't gone through a divorce or anything like that, but I was with you there. I was like, oh my God, I can just imagine. I tried to imagine what it would feel like after 25 years of giving my life to somebody else and integrating them into my world, to have it all just come to a halt,
Just
And
pull it
so,
right out of you.
those
Yep.
are the things, and these are human things. and we're
Yeah.
constantly faced with fear in our daily lives. And so to hear how you can be faced with such a big item that
Mhm.
came out of nowhere. So you had element of surprise, and on top of that, you had to face fear, and to see that you were able to come out of that, like rise from the ashes, like I was
All right. Well,
calling you
thank you.
before, Phoenix,
You know, it's interesting. I want to just leave our, before we close, tell you a little thing. So when my brother Michael died when I was 10 years old, people over the years would, because my name is Martin, Michael Martin, MM, they would call me Michael, whether they knew me or they knew or my story or they didn't. And I would like tense up, because it made me remember that day and that tragedy. And I've cried many times over the years. And then as I started going through coaching and I thought about it more, I came to realize that when someone called me Michael, it was God's way of telling me that Michael's with me and he's watching me, watching over me.
Wow, that's
So
beautiful.
now I embrace
Wow.
it when someone says that. I'm like, okay. It's like the movie what is it? With the Christmas movie with, all of a sudden it went out of my head, with Jimmy Stewart.
Oh,
You know,
yes, yes. It's a Wonderful Life, right?
It's
Is
a
that the
Wonderful
one?
Life, right?
Yeah,
When the girl says, "Oh, every time the bell rings, an angel gets its
Yes.
wings." Every
Yes.
time someone says Michael to me, it's my angel Michael telling me he's with me.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. That is awesome. I have had such a great conversation with you, and the tribe has benefited greatly from your experiences that you shared. And I know for certain that you will get reach outs as a consequence of this, because I am positive that your story, your mission, the way that you're giving back has resonated with someone who's listening. And so I thank you for that.
Oh,
We're at that we are at that part of the show where we do fill in the blanks. And so I need to know, before we get going, are you ready? Are you ready to fill in the blanks?
I am ready. Ready or not, here I come.
Awesome. All right. So the first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
If I am fearless, I will be abundant in everything I feel and do.
Awesome. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
A mindset of abundance.
Love it. And then last but not least, my battle cry is.
Oh, this one's a layup. The Warriors Life Code: live incredibly full every day.
Awesome. Love that. You know what? We thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and sharing with us. We do not take that for granted. We are appreciative for certain, because we have a strong belief here that everybody who comes into your life and touches you and shares a piece of themselves is making that impact that is much needed. So thank you so much for that. And we truly, truly, truly appreciate you.
And thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you, Dr. Charmaine. Dr. G.
Yes. All right. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.